Hello, everybody, and welcome to another semi-final episode of War Machine Season 3.1. Yeah, so now we are 3 out of 16 in terms of robots confirming their spots into the grand final, and we will confirm the fourth one here in this episode. So, featured here is Semi-Final C, where the 8 robots from Heat C who all claimed a spot in the semifinals are going to fight it out bracket style for a spot in the grand final. So yeah, the process is simply going to be these robots are ranked from 1 to 8 based on their performance and whether they came out of the redemption rumbles or whether they won their opening round match. And yeah, and then pretty much just going to fight out bracket style for a spot in the grand final, as I already explained, and as you probably know if you've seen the previous few episodes. So anyway, let's go ahead and check out the bracket for semifinal C. So, claiming the number 1 seed, we have the vicious horizontal spinner of Carbide, who made their debut this season of War Machines, ripped apart the full-body spinner of the Revolutionist in their first battle. And their opponent tonight will be Rybot, who came out the Redemptions Rumble with a judge's decision victory over the Revolutionist and Cerberus. So, this robot will definitely be a force to be reckoned with. Then, following that, the 2-seeded Apex with their devastating horizontal spinner who took out Cerberus in their opening round matchup. Opposing them will be Mute, who had a solid opening round matchup that unfortunately did not go their way when they took on Panzer Mk, but then they had sheer domination through the redemption rounds that got them the win they needed to advance to this round in their win over Panic Attack and Roadblock. Then down below, we got Nightmare, who was given the 3 seed with their victory over Roadblock, their satisfying victory. Taking on Nightmare will be 101, who got a really close victory over Rybot in their recent matchup, and surely they're going to give Nightmare a pretty big challenge. Then following that with the 4 seed, we got Noisy Cricket. So, Noisy Cricket, devastating Hammerbot, definitely one to watch out for. Little underseeded in my opinion, but yeah, it is what it is. But Noisy Cricket got a devastating victory over Panic Attack in a very close judge's decision. Taking them on will be Panzer Mk, who got a relatively late victory over Mute, started off getting tossed around, but then got the final push and the advantage they needed to get the victory, and yeah, got the 5th seed here to take on Noisy Cricket. So we got some good stuff coming here. So then as I mentioned before, we'll see a bracket-styled showdown between these 8 robots. The top 4 robots will be, whoever wins this bracket will be confirmed a spot in the grand final. The 2, 3, and 4 seeds will not be out next, as we have some redemption brackets that will happen after all the semifinals conclude that will result in 6 more robots gaining spots in the grand final. No, 5 more actually. Sorry. But anyway, let's go ahead and get on to our first matchup, where we are going to go down to the 4 and the 5 seed. We're going to see Noisy Cricket take on Panzer Mk first in this one. So, yeah, we got a battle between a devastating hammer and a lifter here. So, yeah, definitely the strategy of Panzer Mk is going to avoid getting scooped up by Noisy Cricket, because Noisy Cricket is a design that relies on winning the ground game. If Noisy Cricket doesn't get underneath Panzer, they will not be able to strike with that devastating hammer and cause any damage. While on the other hand, if Panzer can continue to get underneath them and just avoid that hammer and get some lifts, I think they got a solid chance at this one. But I think the second Noisy Cricket gets underneath and starts using that hammer, it's going to be big trouble for Panzer, because we've seen what that hammer can do both this season and in their run from last season, and it is pretty devastating. So this is definitely going to be something to watch here. This should be an interesting battle. Let's go ahead and get to this first battle. Alright, here we go. And a big charge by Panzer that almost sent Noisy Cricket clean out of the arena. Imagine how incredible of an Udo. That would be a strike there. Knocks off something. I couldn't tell what. But there's a flip right there. Panzer really struggles to drive upside down. This is not a good start for Panzer. Noisy Cricket trying to scoop up Panzer, but struggling to do so. Panzer's using the lifter just to get away, because they don't want to get scooped up, but now they're getting scooped up, and Noisy Cricket's coming in for a few nice hits, and looks like part of a wheel just came off. This is not good, because like those wheels are not exactly exposed, but yeah, not exactly free real estate, but it's still some pretty good strikes there, and 2 full wheels have been knocked off. Panzer does have Omni wheels, so if they do lose 1 wheel, they still have 1 there. But those last 2 wheels that were lost were like a set of Omni wheels completely. So, oh, now Panzer only has 1 wheel on that side right there, and they lose that one right there. Panzer has now lost 1 side of drive right there. This is what I was talking about when I was saying if Noisy Cricket scoops up Panzer, it's going to be bad news. And it's just got even worse just because they just lost the lifter completely. And now there's smoke coming out of Panzer. A good start by Panzer avoiding that hammer, but ever since Noisy Cricket scooped up Panzer, Noisy Cricket just made Panzer pay for that driving error, whatever that was that they made. But now they got drive on, now Panzer's been reduced, no weapon, drive on 1 side. While Noisy Cricket's still fully functional, looking to try to scoop them up again here, but Panzer's just not making that an easy target. And now losing another part of a wheel right there, and now Noisy Cricket has Panzer in the corner, but now Panzer has Noisy Cricket in the corner, but it's not really working out so well for them just because of that loss of mobility right there. 1 minute left to go in this fight. Noisy Cricket scooping up Panzer once again. Has him high-centered, looking to strike with that hammer, but just not getting the death blow they're looking for in this one. Looks like Panzer's probably going to need a knockout in order to win this one, but I don't think they can rely on the pit as well as they could in their fight with Mute, just because they don't have drive on 1 side. They can't get to the pit very easily. A little over 30 seconds to go here. This has been one major struggle for Panzer and huge domination by Noisy Cricket, showing why they are underseeded here. Panzer's just trying to get a push in there, show some sort of control, but just unable to do that in this one. Another part of a wheel comes off, a few more strikes, and now Noisy Cricket has Panzer scooped up and pinned in the corner. A few more devastating shots, and I see more smoke coming out of Panzer there. 5 seconds left to go. It is looking like the first fight of this episode is going to go to the judges, and it has. And it ends with Panzer being with 1 wheel left and in a big ball of smoke. So, yeah, the judges score this one based on damage, aggression, control, and weapon usage. I think this one is probably going to be a relatively easy one to call here, because Panzer might have had like the first 10 to 15 seconds of this, but ever since that first flip that Noisy Cricket got on Panzer, things just were not the same for Panzer. Just because Noisy Cricket started getting that hammer into action, started plucking off wheels, started getting to some of the internals, especially during those last 20 seconds right there, where the smoke was just erupting out of Panzer in this one. So, yeah, anyway, I think there's not really much more to be said here. Let's go ahead and hear what the judges had to say. So, the judges' votes are in, and we have a unanimous decision. The winner is Noisy Cricket. Yeah, I think that one was probably a relatively easy judge's decision to call here, just because, like almost all of this was Noisy Cricket here. As soon as Noisy Cricket scooped up Panzer and just started landing some hits, it just led to more and more bad news for Panzer for the rest of the fight. But major credit to Panzer for surviving this fight and giving us a few good shows in this one. Hopefully we'll get to see Panzer in a bonus fight. We'll see Noisy Cricket in the next round, where they will take on the winner of a fight that is actually happening next, where we'll see the 1-seed Carbide, who's going to take on the 8-seeded Rybot. Yeah, so Carbide Carbide very well known for the devastating amount of damage it causes in Robot Wars, and it's looking to do the same thing here in War Machines. They already got through their first opponent, Revolutionist, pretty easily, ripping off the entire shell, including, and they're looking to do something similar to that to Rybot, who is pretty well armored. But we'll find out how well Rybot can hold up to one of the nastiest spinners in the entire competition. And now let's go ahead and get on to this fight. So this is going to come down to how well can Carbide dish out hits. Rybot's going to need a box rush. So alright, here we go. Carbide getting that spin to speed, meeting in the middle, lands a hit to the side of Rybot. Another big hit that sends Rybot back. Rybot's going to need to box rush here and maybe keep that flipper pointed towards them and see if they can knock Carbide off balance, because Carbide is vulnerable to flippers here. Just flippers knocking them off balance because they are invertible here. Here we go. Carbide landing some more hits. It knocks Rybot on its side. Rybot trying to get off, but struggling to do so. Here comes Carbide getting that spin up to speed. Lands a big hit that not only sets Rybot free, but flips Carbide over. That was a huge hit right there. So right now, another big hit that knocks Carbide off balance. Rybot coming over to capitalize, but struggling to do so. Rybot caught up on the wedge of Carbide. And there goes the flipper. That was a good opportunity right there, but unfortunately didn't do very much. Another big hit right there, and it looks like one of the side armor pieces has come off of Rybot here. One of those wheels are now exposed. We're going to find out. Looks like Carbide hit something. Looks like that wheel is still there. I wonder if Rybot has Omni wheels, because it looked like part of a wheel did fall off after that exchange. And now a solid lift by the front hinge flipper of Rybot. Now that flipper appears to be stuck. Well, not anymore at least, but now Carbide out of control here. That flipper is knocking Carbide off balance here halfway through this fight, and Carbide getting sent flying. Now you know what I was talking about when I was mentioning that Carbide is relatively vulnerable to flippers right there. That lack of balance right there. So another big hit, and a wheel has come off. The entire wheel has come off on the left side of Rybot right there. Rybot has now lost drive on one side with a little over a minute to go in this fight. Carbide slowly approaching Rybot. Could we see a countdown coming soon? Because Rybot appears to just be driving in circles. I don't think they've been losing their circumference that well. No countdown so far, but Carbide has just been merciless so far. It looks like they're continuing to engage, so we likely won't see a countdown as of now. But there's another big hit that sends Carbide back. But gotta talk about the defenses of Rybot there. Carbide's just not getting through that robot as easily as they have with Revolutionist and other robots like in the Fantasy Robot League on the Robot Wars mod. Because right now, Carbide's just been letting hit after hit, but this robot's just not gonna die here. Less than 30 seconds to go. Oh, Carbide's gotta be careful when they approach that robot there, because that flipper, hitting that flipper at an angle has just been knocking Carbide off balance, and that could have been bad if Carbide went out of control right near the pit there. But either way, this fight is now in the hands of the judges here, and I'm not sure if this one's going to be really that much harder than the last judge's decision here, because yeah. But I will admit, though, Rybot did do a really good job in this fight up against, one of the nastiest spinners out there. They did hold their own pretty well and knocked Carbide back every once in a while. But I gotta say, that lost wheel of Rybot was crucial right there. Losing that piece of side armor and losing that wheel, that was some very key damage that occurred in that fight. And, yeah. Let's just hear what the judges had to say. But either way, though, great fight from Carbide and Rybot in this one, and great effort by Rybot. So, yeah, the judges' votes are in, and once again, we have a unanimous decision. The winner is Carbide. Kind of what I was expecting as well, because Rybot did put up a massive fight, knocking Carbide off balance several times in that fight, exposing that big weakness that Carbide does have in this mod of Robot Arena 2. But still, damage was very key in that fight. Losing that wheel was definitely costly for Rybot, and definitely was probably what gave Carbide the victory. we will see Carbide in the next round, where they will take on Noisy Cricket in what should be a very fun fight. So now on to the next one, where we're going to go over and see the 3-seeded Nightmare, who is going to take on the 6-seed 101. So on one side we got Nightmare with that big vertical spinner in a pretty unusual design. Nightmare moving up from the DSL IRL mod up to fight with the big boys in the Robot Wars mod. And 101 is their opponent for this one with a Spike, another pretty unusual design. But I gotta say, Nightmare is a pretty challenging opponent for 101, just because, like, there's not a lot of hits for there's not a lot of places on Nightmare for 101 to hit with that Spike. There are the wheels, which is probably going to be 101's big target for this one, because if they can pluck a wheel and then maybe flip Nightmare over, it might be all over for Nightmare. Either way, though, another fun fight should be coming. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Time for this match to begin. Nightmare getting their spinner to speed. 101 now leaving their entrance spot, and Nightmare landing a few hits. 101 did knock Nightmare back. A big hit right there after 101 took itself into the rails right there. Nightmare getting pushed around. 101 clearly with the better drivetrain. We haven't seen any action from that Spike yet. Looks like 101's box rushing Nightmare, trying to slow down that vertical spinner, but not doing a very good job at it exactly. So a few more glancing blows from Nightmare, but not really any major damage so far. So here comes Nightmare once again, landing a nice hit right there. Another big hit, nearly flipping 101 over. I'm not sure. I think 101 can self-right. They can drive inverted, but who knows? But they just took themselves into the rails. Are they high-centered right there? They appear to be stuck right there to me. Here comes Nightmare, a few more glancing shots at the top right there, but a countdown is coming on 101 right now. 101's got to get out of there. They are not moving right now, and it's looking like Nightmare is going to win this one by a knockout, and they have. Nightmare advances, and yeah, I don't think there's really much more to say about that one, because yeah, Nightmare landing a few nice hits. 101 did a pretty good job slowing down Nightmare's spinner and pushing them around a little bit, but a few driving errors right there showed that wasn't enough, because 101 rammed itself into the rails for I don't know what reason. Got stuck right up there, and then yeah, that was it right there. Nightmare will be moving on, and we'll hopefully get to see 101 in a bonus fight section, because indeed 101 is a neat robot. So anyway, moving on to the last fight of this round, we're going to see Apex, the 2-seed, take on the 7-seeded Mute. These are two great robots here that are about to fight it out for the last spot, and the winner will take on Nightmare in the next round. So yeah, so this will be a battle between Apex, who's going to look to get that horizontal spinner to full speed and cause some major damage, and Mute, who's probably looking to box rush Apex. Either way though, this should be a good fight, and we'll find out, because Mute is a front hinge flipper as well. Can Mute control this fight, or will the damage Apex's spinner can cause really stack up in this one? A lot will tell. It will come down to driving in this one. Let's go ahead and get this one underway. Alright, here we go. Apex getting the spinner up to speed. Apex lands a hit, but knocked off balance right there, and Mute lands a nice flip right there. Mute doing an excellent job of coming back from that one and landing a few nice hits with their flipper. Apex now getting the spinner up to speed, looking to run away from Mute, just get it up to full speed. Nice hit from Apex right there, knocking Mute aside. But now there we go, Apex now being knocked off balance, and Mute's doing a great job capitalizing on that moment. So, a little 30 seconds into this fight right now, I'd say Mute's got this. Mute is winning this one so far. Mute staying on Apex very well in this one, and there's a nice flip right there. Apex really struggling with the front of Mute right there. Apex has got to get to the sides or the back side and do something big, because right now Mute is just stacking up on the control and aggression points here, while Apex is just unable to do very much in this one. A minute into this one right now, and Mute definitely on top in the early going of this one, but there's still 2 minutes left to go in this one, unless if one of these two wins it by a knockout. Big hit right there that sends Mute all the way over to the other side, and Mute appears to be stuck on their side. Could this be a big moment? Here comes Apex getting that sprint to speed, coming in now. Huge hit right there that knocks Mute free, but Apex almost sent itself out of the arena there. 2 monster shots from Apex, and another one right there that sends Apex flying, like that one right there. We are seeing some epic hits in this one. What a fight so far. But now Mute has Apex in the corner once again. This is big trouble for the horizontal spinner right now. Little over a minute to go in this one, and Mute just doing an excellent job driving in this one. Really excellent driving on both sides on this one, because Apex has done a great job getting away from Mute for the most part to get that spare to speed, while Mute has done a terrific job just staying on Apex, like right there, knocking Apex off balance constantly here. Less than a minute to go in this one. The one thing we haven't seen, which is why I think Mute is winning right now, is damage. We've seen some excellent shots from that horizontal spinner of Apex, but not really much damage. Just proving how durable Mute is right now. So, less than 30 seconds to go in this one. This has been one heck of a fight, and Apex being knocked off balance once again. Less than 20 seconds to go in this one, and Mute has Apex right in the corner once again. Excellent stuff in this fight. 10 seconds left to go in this one. It is looking like we have another judge's decision on our hands. Nearly sent out of the arena there, and the clock has now hit 0. So this fight is now in the hands of the judges once again. 4 fights so far, 3 of them have gone to the judges. Just shows how competitive this semifinal group is. So yeah. Yeah, so now in terms of this fight, most of this fight, I gotta say, went to Mute. Because Mute definitely did a terrific job with their strategy of box rushing Apex, letting them get up to full speed the least amount possible, landing some nice hits with that flipper, sending Apex flying, just staying on them basically. Apex, on the other hand, they got some nice hits of their own, including near the middle of the fight. We saw a few of the biggest hits of the entire episode, or even the entire season. Lots of the stuff Apex is just so well known for in this mod. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot to factor in with this one. But I gotta say though, like, I gotta, if I took a guess, I would probably give this one to Mute, because on one hand, like, control and aggression, almost all of that has gotta go to Mute, because Mute did an excellent job with both of those categories. But Apex definitely should get some, because they did get a few nice control moments. But then on the other hand, damage. There wasn't really much damage caused by either of these 2 robots. And who knows how the judges are going to play that in. But either way, this should be a relatively interesting judges decision. So let's go ahead and find out. Anyway, so the judges' votes are in, and we have a unanimous decision. The winner is Mute. Kinda as I expected here, because lots of the control and aggression was all Mute, and the lack of damage I think is kind of what costed Apex in this one. But either way though, we got another heck of a performance here from 2 robots fighting for a spot in the second round of this semifinal. Great stuff from both of these robots. We'll unfortunately have to say goodbye to a fan favorite in War Machines being Apex. Hopefully we'll get to see Apex in a bonus fight. And then we'll see Mute in the next round, where they're going to take on Nightmare, the 3-seeded in this one. So yeah, now the second round is set, where we'll have a match between Carbide and Noisy Cricket, the 1 and the 4 seed, and then we'll have a battle between the 3 and the 7 seed of Nightmare and Mute. 2 excellent fights that are coming. We're going to start this one off with Mute and Nightmare. So, 2 robots. Well, the two the two recent fights, the winners of those are now fighting once again. Not that it really matters that much, but yeah, we'll see Mute and Nightmare up next. So I imagine the strategy for Mute is probably going to be about the same thing. Simply box rush their opponent, prevent them from getting up to full speed, use that flipper, just stay on them as much as possible and control the fight, like what they did with Apex, and they did that brilliantly in that one, and you saw how well that turned out for them for the judges' decision. Nightmare, on the other hand, just probably going to be get the vertical spinner up to speed, dig into their opponents, try to cause a lot of damage. This would be a major test for Nightmare, because we've seen how well armored Mute is in this one, and yeah, it'll be an excellent test to see, can Nightmare's vertical spinner get through that armor on Mute and cause some serious damage to the electronics. So, either way, this will be an excellent fight. Nightmare's probably going to be trying to avoid the box rush, because the box rush is definitely coming. So, let's go ahead and find out, and let's get to this fight. Time for this battle to begin. Nightmare getting the spinner to speed, and Mute gives them a heck of a shot that almost sends Nightmare clean out of the arena in this one. 10 seconds in, and Nightmare's already flipped over. Mute staying on Nightmare while Nightmare's trying to self-right through the use of the vertical spinner, and they do self-right, but not before taking another big flip, and another flip that sends Nightmare almost out of the arena, not quite counted yet. But now they've fallen out, and that's going to do it for Nightmare, who has been flung out of the arena in two very well-timed flips. Wow, that ended so quickly right there. So, yeah, 27 seconds for Nightmare to be officially counted as out of the arena in that one, and crazy stuff here. But we're going to see Mute in tonight's final here, and I gotta say, they are making a huge statement for themselves. First, taking out a big name like Apex, and then taking out Nightmare, and so quickly too. Such a unique design that just got KO'd in 27 seconds. So now let's find out who's gonna be taking on Mute in the next round. Will it be the top-seeded Carbide, or will it be Noisy Cricket? So the strategy for this one is probably going to be very similar to the fight we just saw. Carbide's probably going to try to get that spinner up to full speed and try to do as much damage to Noisy Cricket as they possibly can. While on the other hand, Noisy Cricket's probably going to be trying to box rush Carbide. And then on top of that, try to scoop them up so that way they can land some hits with that hammer. This should definitely be an excellent fight. We got two titans here. Like, if these two were the 1 and 2 seeds, I could see this one possibly being, like, a semi-final, final worthy fight, but it's not though. This is top 4 fight, so yeah, another excellent showdown is likely coming here. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Alright, here we go here. Now Carbide getting the spinner to speed. Noisy Cricket slowly approaching. Nice glancing blow from Carbide. Another one right to the front. Right there on Noisy Cricket trying to cause some damage there. But now Noisy Cricket's flipped over. Carbide lands a nice hit in the rear. I like a lot of the sportsmanship we've been seeing so far. Some robots have been getting stuck, but then the opposing robot frees them. That's happened a few times with Noisy Cricket. You see them almost get flung out of the arena, not once but twice so far in this match. 30 seconds in, not a lot for Noisy Cricket. Nice hit right there, right to the side armor. Looks like they were very close to a wheel right there, which could have been very devastating if Carbide was not careful right there. Now Carbide being knocked off balance, Noisy Cricket trying to self-right as they are flipped over right now. But now Carbide chewing up the underside of that horizontal spinner. Nice hit from Noisy Cricket right there after Carbide got knocked off balance. Carbide's got to get out of there as they are almost being pinned up against the rails right there. Noisy Cricket's also got to be careful about those exposed wheels, because I imagine those are practically chew toys for Carbide. Made right there. Carbide's not careful. Nice hit! It looks like some damage has been taken to the 1 seed. Carbide has lost their top armor in this one, and we are a little over a minute into this fight. Noisy Cricket's starting to do some damage right there. Carbide appears very close to control board damage. Not a very big situation. Not a very good situation for the 1 seed here. Even though they have been landing more hits, they seem to be taking more damage right now. Carbide trying to hit a wheel. Nice hit right there. And now we got smoke coming out of Noisy Cricket. Noisy Cricket's definitely been taking some damage of their own in this one. Little over a minute left to go in this one. Carbide just being knocked off balance here. Noisy Cricket trying to capitalize here. Not able to do it so well. I wonder if they're facing drive issues because of that smoke that's coming out. Another nice hit from Carbide, and we got more smoke now coming out. 1 minute left to go in this fight. It's a little tricky to tell who's winning this right now, but I'd probably say Carbide is winning at the moment right now. But Noisy Cricket has definitely not been doing a bad job themselves here. Carbide, almost on the top of the hammer. Surprised you didn't get to see it fire. Could that hammer also possibly be damaged right now? So it's a little hard to tell. But no, it's clearly not damaged right there because we just saw a swing from it from Noisy Cricket. So Carbide knocked back off balance once again here. Less than 30 seconds to go. This has been one roller coaster of a fight here between these two robots. And near miss right there from Noisy Cricket, but now Carbide being knocked off balance. Another near miss right there. So a few more nice hits. 10 seconds left to go in this fight. Very close to the battle so far. And this battle looks like it's going to be going to the judges. And oh no! The hammer has now come off of Noisy Cricket, and during the last 5 seconds, that could have been a really crucial piece of damage right there as this fight goes in the hands of the judges. A little similar to how Mammoth lost the wheel, and like literally right as the match ended and their fight was shattered. Could that have been such a crucial piece of damage right there? That it could have just decided the fight. I don't know, because Noisy Cricket definitely had some epic moments of their own throughout this fight. And yeah, so yeah, kind of like analyzing this fight, majority of it definitely was Carbide landing some devastating hits with that horizontal spinner, but Noisy Cricket did hold up really well despite the smoke that was coming out of Noisy Cricket and their hammer coming off in the last 5 seconds. But Noisy Cricket did do a pretty good job of knocking Carbide off balance. They did land some pretty nice shots, including knocked off the top armor piece, and it looked like Carbide is going to be on the ropes in terms of control board damage in this one, but that didn't end up happening though, so either way, who knows what's going to happen in this fight. We got an interesting judges' decision coming for this one. Let's go ahead and hear what the judges had to say. Yeah, so the judges' votes are in, and we have a unanimous decision. The winner is Carbide. So Carbide will advance to the final, where they will take on the well-armored front hinge flipper of Mute in this one. So it looks like the damage was taken into consideration, including that Carbide probably had a bit more control moments here. And while Noisy Cricket definitely had some probably the bigger control moments in my eyes, I feel the moments that Carbide had just stacked up too much on it, and Carbide won the fight because of it. So either way, though, excellent fight between two killers. I could definitely see Noisy Cricket winning that third place match and then getting one of those 5 wildcard spots into the grand final where we could possibly see this fight happening again. Who knows, but let's go ahead and get on to the third place match where Noisy Cricket's returning to the arena once again, where they will take on Nightmare in this one. So yeah, this one's going to be an unusual one for Noisy Cricket because like Nightmare's not one of those opponents that's the same, or it's the same when you scoop them up compared to most other robots. So just because Nightmare's such an unusual design here, it's gonna be interesting how Noisy Cricket's gonna take it to Nightmare in this one. And then on the other hand, Nightmare probably gonna try to avoid that hammer, try to get those wheels on Noisy Cricket, which Carbide is trying to get to but didn't get to in time. Lots of those could be key to this fight. I think they both will be trying to target the other's wheels in this one, just because I feel those are relatively easy picking for both of them. So let's go ahead and find out who can outdrive the other in this match, and let's get right to it. Alright, here we go. Nightmare getting that vertical spinner up to speed. Noisy Cricket near miss right there, but Nightmare's landing some glancing blows into the front of Noisy Cricket with that spinner. And now that vertical spinner is temporarily halted right there, Nightmare has now been flipped. And now Noisy Cricket, unfortunately, not able to capitalize when Nightmare rights itself through the use of its spinner. So right now, Nightmare trying to get to those wheels, nearly got to them a few times right there. And now, less than 30 seconds into this one, and right now it's been Nightmare on top. Flip right there from Nightmare. Now Nightmare trying to chew up the underside there with that vertical spinner, while Noisy Cricket's trying to self-right, but struggling to do so in this one. So yeah, we're about a minute into this one. Right now, I'd say Nightmare is in the lead, but probably not by much right now, because Noisy Cricket's been doing a good job on holding Nightmare back for the most part, but I think that one control moment is why I'd have Nightmare on top right now. Oh no! Oh my gosh! What the heck did I just see happen? One strike right there. Well, there was probably other strikes, but either way though, Nightmare's vertical spinner has come off with half of this fight left to go in this one. What the heck just happened? Like, seriously, we saw a weapon on weapon exchange, and that was it for the weapon. And now Noisy Cricket got to the sides and Nightmare right there ripped off the entire weapon pulley. So now Nightmare is just a control box on two wheels now. What the heck did this fight just turn into? It's like Noisy Cricket got offended or something when I said that Nightmare was winning. But now can Noisy Cricket get the flip right now? Because without that weapon, I don't think Nightmare can self-right. So if Noisy Cricket can get a flip or a Nightmare, we could see a countdown. But now Noisy Cricket has Nightmare in the corner here. They definitely have the better push power in this one, but still, what have we seen? What has this fight turned into? Because, like, Nightmare definitely does not look the same than what it did when starting this fight up. So, like, this is devastating. I can't believe what we just saw in this one. So, Noisy Cricket, I wonder if they're even complaining to the judges that the judges' decision and from their Carbide fight was wrong or something. But regardless, though, like, Noisy Cricket is just making a statement for themselves. They just beheaded Nightmare out of nowhere, but now 10 seconds to go, and Nightmare's flipped, but it might be too late now, because it's looking like this battle is going to go to the judges. And that'll do it, and this third place match is in the hands of the judges now, so yeah, I think there's a lot to take in with that one, because like at first it looked like Nightmare was winning this fight and might come out with the victory on this one, like digging into Noisy Cricket's front with that vertical spinner, but then some weapon on weapon action and off came that vertical spinner. Noisy Cricket said no thank you to wanting to take hits from that vertical spinner of Nightmare and just ripped that thing off the robot. And yeah, I don't think there's really much more to say here. Let's go ahead and hear what the judges had to say about that one. So, yeah, the judges' votes are in, and we have a unanimous decision. The winner is Noisy Cricket. So, yeah, Noisy Cricket coming out with the victory in the third place spot. We will see Noisy Cricket in the third place bracket for this competition. And as for Nightmare, Nightmare is not out yet because they will be considered for one of 6 wild cards into the third place bracket. But we'll have to see how the other 10 robots' resumes turn up. Nightmare does have a pretty satisfying resume, I'd say, but we'll have to see who the rest of the competition for those 6 spots are. So, yeah, moving on, because we got a semifinal C final fight to determine. So, and it is between Carbide and Mute. So we got a battle between brute force and a brutal tank here, because on one side we got Carbide, who has ripped up a lot of the competition so far with that bar spinner. And then the other side we got Mute, a well-armored front-hinged flipper here, who has knocked out not one but 2 big spinners in this semifinal group so far to get here. While Carbide has knocked out a few big names of their own. So Yeah, so far I think this is going to come down to because Mute's strategy is sure enough probably going to be the same. Box rush Carbide, stay on them, not let them get up to full speed. Compared to Carbide, where can they do what their opponents, what Mute's past few opponents have failed? Can they damage Mute and possibly get the victory that way? Like what Carbide's most well known for. Either way, though, I think we got an excellent fight underway. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Time for this final to begin. Here comes Mute on the attack, but Carbide lands a nice hit to the side, gets away to let that Spare get up to speed. A few nice lancing blows from Carbide right now. Here comes Mute on the attack, looking to knock Carbide off balance. Nice hit, a few nice hits to the sides from Carbide, but now Carbide's off balance here. This is where Mute's looking to take advantage, and now Mute landed a flip right there, another flip right there, another flip right there. So now Carbide gets the breathing room they need and are getting away when you get that Spare up to speed. Nice job by Carbide so far, running away to get the Spare to speed. Now looking for the right blow right there. The spike's getting involved and flips Mute over right there. It's amazing what the hazards have been able to do so far. And now Carbide at the underside of Mute, to chew it up with that bar spinner right there. Not the position Mute wants to be in this one. But now Mute gets free right there. After Carbide, looks like Mute getting close to control board damage. Looks like Carbide did get through there to the electronics of Mute. But now Mute looking to knock Carbide off balance, and they have Mute looking to capitalize. Excellent job from Mute right there. But now, here we go, right over the floor flipper. Mute takes a huge hit from the floor flipper and gets sent flying. And they are now on control board damage. Mute could be in trouble here, but I'd say they're controlling the front of this fight so far. Right now, Mute's got to be careful though. Halfway through this fight, this has been one epic showdown between these two. Big hit by Carbide, but they are knocking off balance once again. So, minute 20 in this one. It's been a good one so far. Two excellent contenders for the semifinal. Mute's flipped over looking self-right. Big hit, and Mute all the way over the arena rails. What the heck just happened right there? On one hand, Mute was trying to self-right, look right as they self-right, as they triggered the flipper to self-right. Carbide hit them, and that just catapulted them all the way out of the arena right there. And that was incredible, but we will get to see Carbide in the next round. We will get to see Carbide in the grand finals. We will see Mute once again in the second place bracket. So yeah, we got some excellent. That was excellent, I'd say. Like, yeah, I don't think there's really much more to say. That was another back and forth showdown between two robots looking for the grand final spot, but then it ended up going in Carbide's favor right there. So we see Carbide in the grand final, and Mute will be joining the second place roster so far. And Mute's another one I could definitely see making their way to the grand final. So yeah, that'll close it out for semifinal C. Thanks for checking this one out. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and tune in next time where we're going to get to semifinal D, where more interesting fights await. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.